up, traders? Welcome to a new daily watch video. This watchlist video is going to be a little bit longer since I'm not only going to go over the main pairs but also on some other pairs, so you can also see how I trade and how I determine my bias for the market. First of all, let's kick it off with the main watch list for euro dollar. For euro dollar, not really a lot to do for now. I got this trend line in here. We got this demand zone below and there. We could still get a push up, but I want to see this trend line being broken. After that, I can take another trade. That said, moving over to the DXY, and regarding the DXY, what you can see is the price is still bullish. We are still pushing higher. We could eventually even push further. Like if we go to the daily time frame, what we can see is that price really wants to go up, right? Like I already said, we broke this daily trend line, we touched the demand zone, and price is currently flying from here. So we could easily start moving up. We start breaking this supply zone, and that's also the bias that I have for now for the dollar. That said, moving over to odd US dollar, and regarding the odd US dollar, we are still stuck in the range. So let's quickly go to the 4-hour time frame, and what we can see is not really much. We just touched this 0.75, the middle range in here, the bottom range in there. For now, not really a lot to do. We got the supply zone in here and below. Yeah, still like liquidity, demand, whatever you want to call it. At least I want to see a breakout to the upside or to the downside before doing anything further. Going over to NZD US dollar, and regarding the NZD US dollar, still the same demand zone in play in here, but we have a lot of buying liquidity in here that can be taken out. So this demand zone is not super strong, and I am also not trading it. I'm just waiting for either way a breakout to the upside, but probably to the downside. That said, moving over to the GBP US dollar. And regarding the GBP US dollar, it is bearish. We have some demand zone in here. We have some liquidity in here being taken out, but we got more liquidity in this zone in there. So I'm going to try to get a short in here. It's not yet a fixed short. I'm still waiting to see if we can go back to this level today, or maybe eventually Monday. If it's Monday, I want to see how the market reacts after market open, of course. But at least my bias for the GBP US dollar for now is still bearish, and I think we could reach until this demand zone lower in there. That said, moving over to gold, and regarding gold, what we can see is that price is breaking up. We broke this 4-hour and daily structure. Now if we go to the daily, you can see it a little bit more clear. We got this daily demand zone in here with demand being created. For now, price is just bullish on gold. So I'm also going to try to trade a new long on this overall market structure. Now that said, moving over to the Bitcoin real quick, and this won't be the last pair we will be analyzing, but it will be a quick one. So let's quickly grab the right chart. Now on Bitcoin, still the same scenario is playing out. We touched our trend line, didn't really happen a lot. We didn't break it. So for now, we don't have a new demand zone. I'm still waiting for price to go further down to visit our daily and 4-hour demand zone lower in there, or to get another push up and break this trend line. Either way, I'm not doing anything before this trend line is being broken or this demand zone is being reached. Now that said, let's move over to the pairs I have on my watch list. Now, for now, I got GBP US dollar, of course, like we talked about. I got gold in here. I got odd Swiss, and I got CAD Swiss and US Swiss for today. And why these Swiss pairs? That is mainly because if we go to the Forex pairs, what we can see on the overall Swiss currency index. So let's grab this one. What we can see in here, this is the currency index for the Swiss franc, right? And you can also analyze this same way we analyze the DXY. You also got the EXY, the AXY, the CXY, and the JPYX. It basically says it for the euro, for the odd, for the Canadian dollar, and for the Japanese yen, and of course for the Swiss franc and the dollar, of course. For now, what we can see on the Swiss franc index is that we have a supply zone in here. We had a weekly trend line being broken. We have a supply zone being created, and currently price is dropping from our supply zone. Now, if you go to the pairs that I have on my watch list, like odd Swiss, what we can see is basically that price is currently still bullish. We are still in an uptrend on the weekly, right? Now, if we go to the monthly, you can also see that price is willing to go up. We have a lot of space to go up. Now, if we go to the daily time frame, what we can see is that we still had a supply zone in here, but price already touched the supply zone, so there is fewer liquidity left. For now, price really wants to break this daily trend line. So we got this daily trend line in here, and we could eventually break it maybe today, or eventually maybe even Monday. Now, if we go to the 4-hour, we can see that we can take a trade from here. Of course, price could still be bearish. It could still be dropping, take some liquidity, take some stop loss and things like that. So I place my stop loss below there. But for now, this looks like a decent play, especially if we go to the Swiss index, right? Then we can see that price really can go up. Now, if we just go to the Australian index real quick, that's this one. We can see the price is still bullish. So for the Australian index, if we go to the weekly time frame, what we can see is that we had a break of the trend line in here. We have demand, and currently price is respecting the demand. I don't really do a lot with these wicks. I just check the price action excluding these wicks. So for now, price just touched the demand zone and it is going up from there. We even had like a smaller trend line on the lower time frame in here being broken. Price retested that level and currently it can be flying. That's one of the reasons I want to trade all Swiss, and it looks like a good trade for me. Now going over to CAD Swiss, and regarding the CAD Swiss, what we can see that we had a 4-hour break of trend line. We had a older demand zone in here. We had this daily demand zone in here being created, and on the weekly we see a similar scenario, right? Like if you go to the weekly, what you can see is basically we had this longer trend line in here being broken, and we got demand in here currently being respected for the CAD Swiss. Now if we think like the Swiss franc can be bearish, the CAD could be flying compared to CAD Swiss, then you can see that we could take a very nice long from here, and it could eventually even go higher, because if you want to take a long from here, I would trade it somewhat like this, place your stop loss there. But this could be a bigger trade than normal, like you could take like a 3-4, maybe even a bigger R than usual, but depends how long you want to hold it, of course. But we could get a nice swing from this one. That's why I'm also want to trade it. Now we got US Swiss. Now I already talked about the US dollar can be flying, Swiss can go down, so US Swiss for me is a no-brainer. Now if we go to US Swiss, what we can see is that we have some demand zone in here being located. So what we saw in here, for example, let me quickly draw it in. We had a supply zone in here, right? We had this one, and after that it broke with this one. So we had a trend line being broken, supply zone being created, we have a counter zone being created, and price is currently retesting that. Now also if we go on the daily time frame and we draw our trend line in here, we can see price is currently retesting it. I don't really like to draw my trend line like this, that's why I draw it on the 4-hour, and you can see the same structure, right? Like price going down, breakout, get a nice trade and try to trade it to the upside. Now, and that's basically how I use multiple time frame analysis, multiple currency analysis to determine my trades. I might not take all of these 3 trades, since basically if you take these trades, it could end up in one trade. Like it could end up that they all go down in the end, you take 3 losses. So I'm just gonna carefully see and wait how every pair, how every trade is going to develop and which one I'm going to take. I think for now AUD Swiss looks good, US Swiss can also look good, but yeah, nevertheless we could eventually maybe even just shoot up and never come back to the zone. Then I will disregard the trade, I will not take it anymore. But that for the set, I got some more pairs on the watch list, not really interesting for now. Simply break of the trend line, supply zones. Same with Euro AUD, we got bigger weekly demand zones in here. Euro Yen, yeah, I don't really want to trade this one, but I still have it on the watch list for now. Euro Yen could still get a breakout to the upside, right? We got some supply in here currently in control, but we also have like a trend line break and a demand zone below in there. We got our Euro GBP. Euro GBP is also showing some strength. Yesterday we already tried to get into a long, we didn't really get triggered, so we just deleted that one for now. But we got another demand zone below in there, and we got like bigger weekly demand zones all the way in there. And you can also see it like this, right? We have bigger weekly supply zones in here, price goes back there, creates like new supply zones, starts moving down, then in the end creating new supply zones, starts moving down, coming back to demand zones, and maybe even go further up again from here. And lastly, we have AUD NZD, not really interesting for now, but we got a supply zone, a daily supply zone in there. For now, it's on the later watch list. So that's basically how I do multiple time frame analysis, how I do multiple currency analysis, and how you can use everything to get like a bias for the market, to get like a bias for your trades. Usually I always take like one pair and I just analyze that pair and go on whatever the market presents me. I don't always have a bias for every currency because it can always be changing. It always depends on the pair. So just pick your pair, do your analysis on that. But you can use multiple currency analysis to create like a stronger picture of where the overall price could be heading. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this longer video about multiple time frame analysis, the currency analysis and all things like that. And then I will see you again on Monday. So have a good weekend and I will see you. Ciao.